we are live, and here we are. This is the Lexmoto Assault 125. So I said that I was going to do a couple of videos, live streams with this bike. I said I wasn't going to do too many because we are a music related channel, but I said I did want to do a few, and since getting the bike I've just not had the opportunity to do it. If I've kind of got it, I've been riding, and then by the time I've come back from somewhere it's been quite late and dark, so I've obviously put it away, and then if I've got it out, I've been like having to dash off to work or something like that, or I've been sort of busy going somewhere, so I've only done the odd Instagram stories sort of showing this bike. So what I thought I'd do for the live stream is I would just give you a little bit of a sort of my thoughts of this bike since owning the bike, and to anybody out there who is thinking about getting one of these bikes, what I kind of think of these bikes. Now obviously a bike is a bike. I got this bike second hand, so little faults that I maybe have with this bike might not be the bike itself. It might have been down to something from that's been caused by the last owner, or just sort of like the age of this bike, whereas if you was to maybe go and buy one brand new, you wouldn't have these issues with your Lexmoto Assault. So it's in the blue and yellow, so that I'm aware of. You can get this also in like a sort of like a black and red. Now personally, I've looked at videos, I've looked at pictures. I prefer the colour that I've got it in. I just think it looks a little bit more nicer. It just seems to stand out a little bit more, and it just seems to be really, really nice. So so this bike is about 4 years old. I think it was 2020, this model of bike, so it's not actually all that old, but it's done, I think it had done around 8,000 miles or something like that when I bought the bike. That's what it had done. And I think probably since I've had it, I mean, I've had it on the road now about a week, so I've probably done somewhere just over 100 miles or something like that. I've been to Driffield and back a couple of times, which is like 40 miles there and back, and I've done that journey sort of twice. So I would imagine I'll be somewhere around probably 100 going on maybe 200 miles since I've owned the bike. I've not done any really like mega long trips, and I've not been riding it for all that long, but it is, like I say, a second-hand bike, so you will see bits of wear and tear. So the first thing you'll notice, there's some scuffs and scrapes on the exhaust. So the exhaust is just a little bit, it still works fine, it still sounds fine, it's just got a few little scruffs and scrapes, and it does also need a little bit of a clean as well. I sort of never got the chance to clean it before I got it on the road, and then I kind of got it ready to go on the road. Like, I passed my test and got everything sort of prepared for putting it on the road, and then I was just that excited about riding it that I just haven't obviously done anything about really giving it a bit of a clean yet, but I do need to give it just a little bit of a clean, just to spruce her up a little bit. You can see down here, you can see there's quite a bit of dirt here that needs a clean, and the tyres look a little bit mucky, and there's just the odd little bits of wear and tear. The mud guards obviously just want a little bit of a clean, and I think the number plate might just need a little bit of a clean, but just general sort of basic things. So let's have a sort of talk about some of the features that I like about the bike, and let's sort of have a look at kind of what I like. So what I do really like about this bike is I really like the way the screen is set out. So if we just turn it on, look, so you can see what the mileage is at now since it was last tripped. So you can see there, that's the trip. So currently it's at 5,357.7 miles an hour And then we also have a little gear indicator there, so it's in neutral at the moment. And you can see that the green light is on for neutral. Obviously we're doing 0 miles an hour, so obviously it's going to say 0. And then we have our fuel gauge here. So I haven't actually got the 4 bars that it's saying. So for some reason, when you first put this bike on, when you first turn the ignition on, apparently it's going to tell you that you've got 4 bars, but I actually have 2. So I actually do need to go and fuel up. And also, when you go into high beam, I'll show you. You can see that little blue light comes on, which is really good. And then you can adjust things so you can have it going in. So at the moment I'm going in miles per hour, but you can change it so you're going into kilometers an hour. You can set the trip and stuff like that. And I do believe that there, where it says 11:18, I do believe it's meant to tell you the time. But I don't know how to change that yet. Obviously it's not 11 in the morning, 18 minutes past 11, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon or something. And then of course you've got your little rev counter, which is also really good as well. And yeah, so if we move here, we've got our start button, we've got the kill switch, and then at this side we've got, you know, from high beam to low beam, we've got our indicators, so they go obviously between the indicators. And then there's a little switch at the back here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but that puts your hazards on. So now if we go here to these indicators that are actually built into the fairing, and I actually really like this because it's not a little indicator that sticks out, and when you're moving it in and out of like sheds and garages, you're not going to knock that little indicator, or you're not going to really scrape it against anything, because it's obviously, it's there, it's in the fairing, which is like really nice. So you can see here again, there's like just little odd bits of muck where it just really needs a clean. You can see here there's just some more bits of muck where it does need a clean, but apart from that, it's a fairly tidy bike. So you will be noticing, you'll be going, Noble, how come there's only one wing mirror? Well, I had an accident with it the other day. Well, kind of an accident. So basically what had happened is this wing mirror had come loose for some reason. So there's like 2 parts to the mirror. There's a bottom bit, there's a top bit, and essentially if the bottom bit isn't tight enough, you turn the mirror so far, and because the bottom bit's not tight enough, it starts turning the bottom bit, and then it causes the mirror to like fully come off. So we tightened that, and then we noticed that this was just a little bit loose, this whole thing here. So we went to tighten it, my friend, and he went to just turn the mirror, to take the mirror off to tighten this, and for whatever reason this just decided to give way and snap. So we have another one on order, but it's not the best. You know, like, I don't know why it just snapped, but this is the second clutch lever now that I've had to put onto this bike. Now the first one I dropped it myself and it snapped. I think the first one was the original one that came with the bike, and then I went and ordered a replacement one online, which probably wasn't the official Assault one, but it was one that fitted, so it was probably just not you know, probably just not as good a make or as good a condition. Apologise about the builders, by the way. So really nice 4-stroke engine. The back indicators down here, I really like how they're kind of, again, they're kind of built into this bit of fairing, and they're not just kind of stuck out there like they are on some bikes. The light is really good. The backlight is just here, and it really kind of shines down, and it really captures the L plate, stroke the number plate on when you're riding at night, and it really just lights up and makes it visible. I know you're not technically supposed to put L plates here, but unfortunately these were the only L plates I had at the time, and I needed to get it on the road that day, so I couldn't put it down here, but I will be putting one there at some point. And the same with the front one, we had to tape a front one to here, but in all fairness, the light just really lights up on it at night, so I think it's actually a good thing. Apparently the law says something a little bit different about that. Let's move on to things that I'm not too keen with. about the bike. And one thing I don't really like is I don't really like this petrol cap. It's awkward to get back on, and when you open it, like there is literally just a hole there, and it just really feels like you take this off and there is really just a hole there to put your fuel in, and it just doesn't really feel like it's really that secure. Like, it's all right when it's on, but it just doesn't look the best. And they put this like kind of blue wrapping on it that actually came off this top bit. It's not actually the same blue as this, and I just don't think, I think personally it would look good if it was all just silver, but I'm just not fully happy with the way that it looks. You can see here there where it's starting to peel a bit, and I just don't think it ideally looks the best personally. I think, you know, they could have done something a little bit better here, that I don't really necessarily like. So if we move on to the gear lever, so the gear, I don't think this is something to do with the bike itself. I think this is just something to do with like this specific bike, so like whatever's happened with the last owner. But sometimes it likes to skip, like it likes to not find neutral. So for example, if I'm coming back down to slow down for, say, like traffic lights, and we're on a red light, and I don't know, let's just say there's like 3 other sets of lights that are going to go green again before us, you know, the ideal thing would be to put the bike in neutral, just sit there and relax until you're ready to go again. When I'm stopped, for whatever reason, this bike doesn't want to find neutral, and it actually wants to skip to the second gear. However, when I turn the engine off, so when I turn the engine off and then put the ignition back on and go to select the neutral, it finds the neutral straight away, and it will like select into it just like that. But like I say, when the engine's running, it wants to just skip from the first gear to the second gear without finding the neutral, which is really, really annoying. So I think that's just something that's happened to this bike. I don't think if you went and bought a Lexmoto Assault itself that you're going to have that same sort of situation. And another thing is the brakes, they're not 100%. They're probably, I would say they're probably about 80%. So there's about 20% just not completely perfect with the bike. So they probably just need looking at. But again, these are just things with my bike. These aren't, you know, if you buy a Lexmoto Assault, you're probably, you know, if you get a brand new one, you're not going to get this. You know, I got this in an auction. I got it for a cheap price. I just needed a little bit of a runabout to get me from A to B. And that was kind of the story with me. You know, it wasn't about going into the showroom and buying the latest and greatest sort of fanciest bike. So the next thing, and again, I think this is just with me, but I can't get the kickstart to work. I've tried to use it a couple of times. It just seems like it doesn't work. And also the actual kickstart lever is loose, so when you're riding along and when you're going, say, like out of town and you're picking a bit of speed up, the kickstart lever actually blows out in the wind, and then it actually gets caught on my trousers, and it can be actually like quite a pain. So obviously, you know, that is another thing that you're not gonna probably get if you was to buy a version of this bike. So let's give it a quick start up. So to start it up, it's just very simple. You don't have to pull any lever in. You know, all you have to do is just press that and it just starts. And this is what I love about this bike. You just tap that button and it just seamlessly starts every single time. It's not the loudest bike on planet Earth, but if you give it a bit of a rev, you can hear it, but you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna absolutely just sound like a boy racer on a motorbike. It's just a nice little sound, and it's really good. So speed. Now, so this is supposed to be like an off-roading bike stroke a commuting bike. So it's supposed to be a bike that somebody would use to go to work and to come home from work and to get about the city. But it is also used that you can take it off-road if you wanted. You can take it green laning if you really wanted, and it will ride quite well sort of off-road. And when I have to get it to into a shed on a night, I have to ride onto a little bit of grass, and it has no issue riding on the grass. It doesn't slow the bike down in any way, shape or form. It doesn't make it sort of perform any less. It still seems to work just absolutely fine. But it is also like that commuting bike. So the speed is it will do about 64 miles an hour, which is not bad. I mean, a lot of the time national speed limit is 60. A lot of areas now have been reduced to 50 zones. You end up going into a lot of 40 zones. So if you're out and about, you're on the country lanes, you're on the country roads, you're on the A roads, the B roads, even dual carriageways, you're not going to have too much of an issue catching up with traffic unless you've got some boy racing idiot who is just absolutely gunning to go at like 80 or 90 miles an hour. And I watched some videos on this bike before I got it on the road, and I just kind of thought, this actually sounds like it's quite a slow bike, and it's actually not that good. And then I got on mine, and I ain't gonna lie, I think it's actually quite a bit nippier than you think. I think it's got a little bit of acceleration there. It kind of quickly wants to get its speed, and it holds quite well when it's like near the top speed. So I think I've had about 62 out of it. I think that's sort of like the limit that I've really pushed it to. And we were sort of going down a bit of a dual carriageway, and the hill sort of sloped a little bit, and I just was able to pick that speed up. But when you get to about 58, sort of 60, you're really pushing the bike, but it just feels and just flows, and it just rides absolutely fantastic. So like customization, so this bike, to the degree that I know, unless the person I bought it off, or well, the auction, unless they'd missed any details out, and apart from the clutch lever that I have obviously changed myself when the other one snapped, this is pretty much as bog standard as it comes. You can buy exhausts for them. I've seen these nice exhausts that you can buy. They're nearly sort of like 200 quid. Tempting, but I'm not a big person for really wanting to customise things. I don't mind, but this sounds good. This gets me from A to B. This does everything that I need it to do. This is perfect for me to ride to work, to ride and visit friends, to ride and visit the grandparents, which I've already stated earlier. I've done that a couple of times. So for me, it's not a big issue. It just works well. I keep knocking my drink down. It's not a big issue to me. I can ride it happy enough. I don't feel like I need to go any faster or sound any more cooler than I already do. And I'm just, in some case, I'm just genuinely happy. So, I guess the question is, we come sort of to the end, is would I recommend one of these bikes? And I would say 110%. If you are, I don't know, say you turned 16, you've had a moped on the road, you've had a little bit of experience of riding on the road, you've commuted to college on your moped, you're about to turn 17, you want that next step up, you want something that isn't going to whiz really fast, like mega fast, but you want something that is going to feel a little bit nippier, a little bit faster than what you've currently got. You want something that is still going to be good for commuting, to getting to work, getting to college, or wherever it is you're going to be going. Then I would say look no further than the Lexmoto Assault. They have got they've got another Lexmoto engine in them. I don't know if it's the Lexmoto Aspire or Spirit, or there's another engine, I forget what it's called. And it's just basically the same bike, but in a different shell, made into more of a off-roading stroke commuting bike. So I would say if you want that next step up, you don't want something that's going to be too fast, but you want something that is definitely going to feel a lot quicker than the current moped that you're learning on, or the current 50cc geared bike that you can obviously get yourself on, then I would say definitely go ahead, get this bike, ride on it, have fun on it. Personally, you know, like I say, you can get it in the black and red, you can kind of get it in like the blue and the yellow, which is what mine's in. Personally, I prefer the blue and the yellow, but I've not physically seen the red and the black. I've only sort of looked at sort of like videos online where somebody's had one, or like pictures online where somebody's been selling one, that kind of thing. So I can't tell you what they look like in person. They might look a bit better in person than you think. I just like the nice bright colour. I just think it's really cool. You can really definitely see me coming. I think it just looks really nice. It looks really effective in that sense, and I just like the whole vibe of it. So yeah, so that is the Lexmoto Assault 125. So I've had it on the road about a week now. Well, exactly a week. So this time last week I went to pick it up from my friend's house where it was stored, and I've been riding it on the road pretty much every day since. I think the only day I didn't ride it was Saturday because I was at an event DJing, and it was only about a 3-minute walk from here. So and then I did briefly ride it Sunday, but it started to rain, so sort of brought it home, and then rode it to work yesterday. Again, started to rain, so I put it away, and that obviously takes us to today, which is now, all about the here and now. So there we go. So Lexmoto Assault 125. Get one of these bikes, most definitely. Thank you for listening, and I'll give you one last little look of the bike before we end. So there she is. A few little scruffs and scrapes because, you know, it's second hand, but there we go. Like, comment, share, boom.